Okay, so we're still talking football on the SportsMax Zone. The Reggae Boyz will be without several players for Thursday's World Cup Qualifier. Away to the United States in Austin, Texas. Defender Ethan Pinnock and midfielder Daniel Johnson injured, while Liam Moore faces a late fitness test. Jamal Lowe is also said to be doubtful. Reports suggesting Pinnock could be replaced in the selection by Cavalier defender Jamoy Topi or Ajani Talbot, who now plays his football in the Portuguese third division with São João de Ver. Meanwhile, goalkeeper Jadine White has been recalled to the squad after his heroics in the JPL final against Waterhouse. And there's more bad news for the Reggae Boyz, as earlier today West Ham striker Michail Antonio made a statement regarding his surprise omission from the Jamaica squad. I can confirm, he said, that unfortunately I will not be joining up with the Jamaica national squad for the World Cup qualifying matches this week. Myself, West Ham United and Jamaica have all agreed that given the logistical and travel difficulties involved at present, it is better for me to remain with the club in London at this time. I remain fully committed to Jamaica and look forward to representing my country in the future. Now, the Reggae Boyz will need all the luck they can get in Thursday's game against the USA. Theodore Whitmore's men have just 1 point from 3 games and prop up the 8-team table. Still with us, former TNT international Brent Sancho. Brent, do you think the Jamaicans will have a solid chance against the USA without Antonio and with all these injuries battling?
You know what, Lance, when the reports came out about the UK government, of course, giving permission for players to go back and play, but there was a caveat, of course, attached to it, meaning that vaccinated players wouldn't have to quarantine in a particular way. They would still be able to train and play with their clubs. I started to wonder who would it impact and the type of players it would impact. And we're starting to see it now in the World Cup qualifiers with players pulling out. And it could only draw one conclusion from some of these pull-out is that the fact that they are not fully vaccinated. And I also wondered why the UK government didn't just open it up and have a sport bubble so we didn't have similar sorts of confusion like we saw in the September window. So I think, you know, some of it is happening. Of course, some of it is unfortunate for Jamaica as it relates to injuries. But I think more important for Tapper Whitmore is making sure that they're very solid and resolute. And I think the core of the team that played against Mexico and Costa Rica, where they had arguably their 2 better performances, is still there intact, and more so the likes of Loa, Mariappa, Lawrence and Powell. If he can get them to do what they did in those 2 games, they should have at least a fighting chance.
Yeah, you know what? Whitmore has coached the Jamaica Reggae Boyz to beat the USA in the past, although the head-to-head record between the 2 teams heavily favours the USA. The fact is, with all these pullouts, it seems likely, Brent, that the squad that will play against the USA may more resemble the squad that faced Mexico and Costa Rica as opposed to the one that faced Panama. And I would suggest that that squad that faced Mexico and Costa Rica did a lot better than the one for the Panama game.
Yeah, and to add to the fact that the US have injuries themselves in the likes of Pulisic, Brooks, Reina, Reem, just to name a few. It's a long list of casualties as well for the Americans. And they themselves have to obviously shuffle the bunch a bit. And, you know, look, when we started this World Cup campaign, we all felt that you needed a deep squad to get through this campaign. By the end of this year, you would have covered at least half of the fixtures. And you would need a deep squad to be able to do that because the games are coming thick and fast. It's no longer 2 games in a window. You're talking about 3 games in a window. So, again, a big squad is required. And I do think Jamaica has the talent in terms of size of squad to at least get themselves out of this qualifying campaign and probably onto the World Cup.
And Brent, tactically, how does Tampa approach this one?
I think no different from what we saw against Mexico and Costa Rica, 4-4-2. He had 2 seated midfielders. That 4-4-2, of course, could morph into different types of scenarios, whether it's a 4-2-3-1, etc. But the core of the team is that back 6 and making sure they stay nice and compact. I remember, of course, speaking on this show about the importance of the Jamaicans not giving up the midfield quite easy and of course, making sure that their opponents don't get the luxuries of perusing down the line and crossing balls into the box as easy as it can be. And they did, for most part, against Mexico and Costa Rica, avoid that from happening. So if they are to play with a similar type of tactical approach, and more importantly, Mariah, the same sort of passion and commitment, nothing is impossible for the Jamaicans in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and Brent, I like to look for the silver lining in situations, even when sometimes there's no silver lining. Do you get the sense that this can actually work in Tapa's favor? Because we had him on the zone, and, you know, we were speaking to him about how difficult it was to integrate these international players into the team, and especially because he didn't get enough time with them. Now that he has a lot of his local-based players, do you feel as if it can work in his advantage?
Yeah, it's a tricky one for him. And, you know, when I saw the names streaming into the Jamaican lineup, I was a little bit concerned because one of the things that has always struck me with Theodore Whitmore is the players. The players support him and they believe in him. And they truly believe that he is the coach to take them to the World Cup. That is the players that he's had for over 2 years or so. But this new bunch that is coming in, they may have different opinions. They may have a different view of things. And what has made the Theodore Whitmore Jamaican team so successful is just that. They are a very much unified bunch in everything that they do. So when you start to integrate new pieces into the puzzle, it is always a challenge. And I think at the end of the day, Theodore Whitmore has struggled with being able to put and blend these top-level players into his squad.
Yeah, okay, Brent, we'll leave it there. Thursday is going to be a very important fixture for the Jamaicans. When they qualified for the 98 World Cup finals in France, they had a pretty bad start, as did TNT when you qualified for the 2006 finals as well. Also a bad start. Both Caribbean sides having to do a big recovery job to get back on track. But it was successful in the end. So let's see what happens with the Reggae Boyz. Thanks, Brent.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, okay, coming up, TNT's Calypso girls are in high spirits ahead of their upcoming tri-series against Jamaica's Sunshine Girls. TNT's national senior team manager in netball, Asher Legal, will join us to tell us all about the team's preparation so far. And what's the latest in the NBA? A bitter divorce is about to occur between Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll give you the details. Back with more on The Zone after this.